One of the companies I look forward to meeting every single year here at ISTE is zSpace. If you haven't checked them out, you can go to zspace.com. That's zspace.com. What is zSpace? To answer that question, I am going to bring on Joe Parlier. Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing very well.
Talk to us a little bit about zSpace.
Well, if you haven't ever experienced zSpace, that's the first thing I would encourage anyone to do is experience it, because zSpace takes content that students are learning and it presents it to them in a virtual or augmented reality way so that they can interact, experience that content like they've never experienced it before.
So let's kind of lay the groundwork here for people who have that it might be new at identifying this. zSpace is a application that runs off of a computer screen that is interactive, and as you said, it's that mesh of augmented virtual reality. And you guys have some great things. You guys might have remembered last year when we had our zSpace interview, we were showing off they have a human body app where they have pictures in 3D space and you can move it around. Joe, I got to ask you, what is new and exciting this year at zSpace?
Well, the most exciting thing we have going on this year is that we're announcing our new platform, which in the past we've always had the all-in-one zSpace desktop computer. Now we have a laptop that affords schools with that mobility, flexibility to implement in ways that maybe they haven't been able to implement before. So that's the biggest announcement for us this year at ISTE. We're thrilled to be able to share with our previous customers as well as future customers that now they have some choice. If they want to go with a more mobile solution, they can purchase our one-to-one laptop solution.
Guys, I'm sitting here looking at this thing and my jaw is dropping because it is absolutely beautiful. Talk to us a little bit about what this is. This is a laptop solution that, is it just a zSpace laptop solution, or is it also a full-blown Windows machine?
That is a perfect question. This is a full-blown Windows machine. It does all of the other things that any Windows device would do. However, it has some enhanced features that allow students to put on our tracked glasses, and while wearing them, the cameras on the machine are able to allow them to interact with the content. So students literally are able to pick up everything from, you mentioned the human body, to the globe theater in a literature class, to physics experiments, and they're able to run them in this environment, manipulate variables, ask questions, come up with solutions, and again, interact with content in a way they never have before. It's also making the teaching process easier for our teachers, because now a lot of the prep time that they have to invest, cleanup time for experiments is all provided for them in a virtual space.
And what does this hardware solution run for?
The hardware solution for a full lab of 30 zSpace laptops with content, and of course the professional development is critical to the success of the implementation, runs around $45,000.
And if I wanted to buy one machine?
So what we try to do is work with our customers to envision how they can truly impact the instructional process in schools. And to that end, we really encourage people to think about the level of interactivity for their students. So we try to encourage people to vision forward and think of a full class implementation. So we tend to sell based on what the average class size is in a school. Hence the number 30 that I used a few minutes ago.
Now talk to us about this, because the number you gave is impressive, and I think any school district would be great for that number. What else can this do? If I was looking at it and I had a budget and I was buying laptops, is this a machine that's got the power to do other things, video editing, audio podcasting, whatever? What do you got in this machine here?
Yeah, so the machine will do anything that you would traditionally do in a Windows environment. In addition, you can do all of the things that zSpace affords you. So I always encourage people to think about how much you spend on a biology lab, or go out and look at the inventory that you put into a chemistry lab. The applications that we're able to provide allow you to take a lot of the materials that you would traditionally buy on a year-to-year basis and have them virtually, and they don't have to be replaced.
Now, you had said something that is absolutely critical to zSpace here, which is professional development. I find a lot of teachers are getting into AR, VR, because that's the buzzwords, but they don't know how to teach it. They don't know what that next step is. Talk to us a little bit about your professional development package.
Well, when we work with our schools, the first thing we like to do is use their school improvement plan that's driven by student performance to help them determine what the solution looks like in their setting. So once that's determined, they're able to pick out what software they would like to run on the zSpace station. Then we align the professional development to the software that's purchased so that if, for example, a school is going to use some of their Perkins dollars to buy it for career and technical education programs, then the professional development is going to be aligned to industry standards. It's going to be aligned to the content needed for the specific courses that are being taught. We do view professional development or professional learning as an ongoing process. So we encourage people to build a plan that is sustainable over time and eventually equips teachers with that ability to use zSpace similar to how they would other technology, where when a new application is released, they're able to transfer their skills into that new application and begin the integration fairly quickly.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, one of the things we realize is that if we don't support teachers with quality professional development, you can have the best devices or software in the world, and you're not going to see your implementation successful or done with a high level of fidelity.
So I have to ask the tough question here, Joe. Because more and more of and I'll say the big companies are getting into augmented virtual on their smaller devices, what is it that makes zSpace stand out in the education world?
Well, one of the biggest differences is you're going to find that our virtual reality solution is not related to a head-mounted display. So while students are working on a zSpace, they have access to the world around them, and multiple students can collaborate in the space to work on a common project. So that's probably the biggest difference. The other difference is the level of interactivity with the content. I challenge people to stop by our booth, schedule time with any of our representatives around the regions, and look at the level of interactivity between the content and the student. The third thing is looking closely at the alignment of the content and the standards that teachers have to teach and that students have to demonstrate proficiency on. What you're going to see is that students are going to engage with that content in the way that the standard outlines, and those performance expectations outlines they should be able to demonstrate.
Talk to me a little bit about your success stories. You know, zSpace and TeacherCast have been, you know, we're on what, 3 or 4 ISTEs at this point. Every time I see you, you guys have such awesome software, great solutions, amazing things out there. But you don't have to take my word for it, right? Talk to me about the success stories that you're seeing in your students and in your teachers and in your schools.
So the success stories relate to multiple factors. Obviously, the one that we focus most on is improvement in student achievement. And we can give you examples of everything from ELL students who are now able to visualize, understand, and develop their vocabulary through using the virtual reality tool, to specific science courses where students traditionally struggle, like physical science, where implementing has resulted in improvement on assessment scores, to certification programs like in healthcare science, where schools that have implemented large districts, they have seen significant increases in students passing the Allied Health Certified Nursing Assistant examinations. The other area where we see a significant increase is in the area of engagement. Teachers talk to us often about the level of engagement that all students have with zSpace. So they see their more advanced students being pushed to take learning to the next level, but they also see those students who sometimes are disengaged all of a sudden become engaged with content that they've never had an interest in before.
The website is zspace.com, zspace.com. Joe, I got to ask you the question I've asked everybody over the last couple of years. When I talk to you next year in Philadelphia, what are we going to be talking about?
Well, I think what we'll be talking about is what the teachers tell us they need. We'd love for teachers to reach out to us and say, hey, I have an idea. This is something I've never been able to show students, and couldn't you make this happen? An example of what you can see this year that we heard that about last year is chemistry. Being able to visualize the way orbital shells are filled with electrons is something chemistry teachers have struggled with for years. Well, guess what? This year, we can show it to you in our booth.
Well, I think that this year school districts are going to find they have a lot of chemistry with zSpace, and I find that if you guys check out zSpace.com, you guys are going to find a perfect solution. I love the fact that it's now mobile, and again, guys, check out zSpace.com. It is a fantastic solution for your school. Joe, thanks so much.
Thank you, Jeff.